Even with the drill, this mining is so tedious. Can I just get a laser gun? Woohoo! Yeah! All right. Pew, 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 pew. Laser gun. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the show. And since the last episode, I have been preparing. I've built a few more machines. One of the primary things I did was these two up here, the Advanced Precision Laser Engraver and the Advanced Forming Press. Now, this laser engraver with a lens in it allows you to make these things, these etched medium voltage wiring, and there's a few others that I can make as well, like this one, the etched medium voltage wiring. Well, I guess I already said that one. I thought there was another. Oh, there we go. Etched high voltage wiring. And as you can see, they're part of circuit boards. This is what's used to make circuit boards with. And then you can see I have some of those here. You put in a silicon plate, and that makes a circuit board. And the circuit board plus various chips will make the various kinds of circuits. So if we go look at the circuits, for example, the basic electronic circuits I can make in the assembler with NAND chips and circuit boards. These NAND chips I make in the assembler like that. And again, the basic circuit board is those medium voltage wirings and the silicon plates. Then the advanced circuit boards is this recipe, which this is glowstone and lapis plates, and this piece here is the high voltage wiring and the silicon plates. And then you have stuff like the basic electronic circuit, which is the same as a regular electronic circuit, the good electronic circuit, which are some NAND chips and electronic circuit, and the advanced circuit, that's we've already seen. And then I haven't made the ones that are higher tier than that. But that's what this setup here, these four machines here allow me to do. This here is the fluid extractor. I put in the soldering alloy. And soldering alloy is really easy to make. It is just, what am I trying to say? It is just tin and antimony. So if I can find the recipe for it here somewhere. Where's the mixer recipe? Oh boy. Well, obviously not very well prepared today, am I? Okay, anyway, I make it in the smeltery, or not the smeltery, the alloy smelter. It's 1 antimony ingot and 9 tin ingots. And these recipes in the assembling machine, they can use tin or lead or soldering alloy. But it seems like with soldering, the soldering alloy is the best one to use. It uses the least amount of soldering alloy for those recipes. So that allows me to make advanced circuits, the high-tech circuits and whatnot. And in fact, at one point in time, I made a bunch of the advanced circuits. I've got 8 of them in there still. So I usually just make a handful of those circuits at any one time, and then I just have them whenever I need to use them. I have done things like I've made myself an energy pack in order to charge up the mining laser, and I've even made myself an electric jetpack, which the jetpack I kind of don't like. If you go too high and fall down, you take damage. And fortunately, you can go into a hover mode, which is like this, but then the hover mode is always on. And I don't really like that either. And I don't know if I can change that or not. The last time I used IC2 with the jetpack, the hover mode just meant that you would descend slowly. And I really liked that. I think I preferred it that way, but obviously that has changed to be something different. I needed to make a high voltage autoclave, the Advanced Autoclave 2, in order to make some of the parts necessary for the jetpack and the laser and stuff like that. So that is sitting here because coming out of this medium voltage battery buffer, I am using a transformer to step up the power to high voltage. And then I'm sending the power via high voltage wires to transformers that transform it back to medium voltage. And that is so that there is less loss through the wires. But because of that, since I do have high voltage running through here, I was able to plug in this advanced autoclave. And for this episode, what I think I want to build is the large steam turbine, which is right here. And this is a multi-block structure. Now, the first thing I'll note is that it says the size is 3 by 3 by 4. But that's actually wrong. It's actually a 3 by 4 by 3. And that's actually a pretty big difference. This structure here is a 3 by 3 by 4 tall. If you try to build this, if you try to build this one, since it says 3 by 3 by 4, the same way as this, it will not work. It's actually a 3 by 4 by 3 tall. So you need the controller, obviously, and the controller is actually based off of the high voltage machine hull. So it actually requires stainless steel and a lot of steel gears and the advanced circuits. And then it also needs at least one input hatch. It says one output hatch, but I believe it can be made without an output hatch. I'm not going to make one with an output hatch. The Dynamo Hatch is where the power comes out. The maintenance hatch is the typical thing you need for any GregTech multi-block structure, as we've seen before. And then you fill in the rest of it with turbine casings, and then of course you actually need a turbine as well. So over here, I think this line of items here is what I need for the turbine controller. And then these two pieces here, I believe, give me the input hatch, maybe. These two pieces here give me the maintenance hatch, I believe. And, oh, no, this might be the Dynamo Hatch. And this might be the maintenance hatch. And then these is for the input hatch. I'm actually going to make two input hatches, and I'll explain why later. And then for the turbine casings, which of course fill in the rest of the structure, these things are the expensive bit. So they're made with magnesium plates and blue steel frame boxes. Magnesium plates. Magnesium is an alloy that is made from. Oh, I need to go back to ingot form. There we go. It's made from. Is it made in the Alloy Smelter? I didn't think that it was. Oh, I guess it is. It's made from magnesium and aluminium. Okay, that's not so bad. This blue steel frame, blue steel is made from. Let's see, I need to find the blue steel is cooked in the blast furnace, and it only needs a heat of 1400, so I should be able to handle that. But the blue steel dust is composed of rose gold, brass, steel, and black steel. Okay, so the rose gold dust is made up of gold and copper. That's pretty simple. The brass is made up of copper and zinc, also pretty simple. The black steel is composed of steel, nickel, and black bronze. And the black bronze is made from gold, silver, and copper. Phew, that's crazy. So doing the math, if I've done it correctly, and there's no guarantees on that, let's just face facts, this should be what I'm going to need for the turbine casings. So there's 100 aluminium dust there and 50 magnesium dust. There's 32 and 7 is 39 gold dust. 21, 8, and 30 is just under 60 copper dust, 10 zinc, 7 silver, 31 nickel, and 64 plus 64 plus 29 plus 12 steel dust. Wow, that's a lot of stuff. So I have been spending a lot of time processing ores in order to get all of this stuff. So this should allow me to make the blue steel, and then I can put the blue steel into the blast furnace, which still struggles for power, so it's going to take me some time to do that and make all the parts. And the last thing that I'm going to need, which I don't have the material set out for, is I'm going to need the turbine itself. And at this point in time, the only thing that I can make, you can see there's 4 different turbines, and they range from small, normal, large, and then huge. But the huge turbines require 6,400 volts. The normal turbines 1,600 volts. The large turbines require 1,600 volts. The normal turbines require 400 volts, and the small turbines require 100 volts. So the small turbines require medium voltage assemblers, while the normal turbine requires at least a high voltage assembler, which I don't have yet. So I'm going to have to stick with the small turbine. You'll notice too that there are multiple different things to look at. So there's the durability. Obviously, that's how long the turbine is going to last before it breaks. There's the turbine efficiency, and that should be fairly obvious. And then there's the optimal steam flow, 8,000 liters per second. So a turbine with, or a large steam turbine with this particular turbine blade, you would want to provide it with 8,000 liters per second of steam. So, and that's a lot of steam. That's eight buckets of steam per second. That's quite a bit. So it's going to make it to be quite a challenge as well. So you can use those numbers to try to figure out like what you want to make, because each material you make it out of could be different. So here's lead. It's only got a durability of 6,400 and the turbine efficiency is 60. So obviously that would not be a good choice. Sterling silver, so you can decide to make your turbine out of these different materials. I think I'm going to make mine out of titanium. Titanium seems to have a pretty good combination of effects. So if I go to the assembler and find the normal one, there it is, a small turbine. You can see the durability is 256,000. That's pretty good. The turbine efficiency is at 80%. I'm assuming that that's a percentage. So that's good. That's decent. And the optimal steam flow, 8,000 liters per second. So it's an 80% efficiency, which isn't the greatest thing in the world. But remember, we're using those basic steam turbines, which only have an efficiency of 66%. So assuming that there is a quality measure, then going from 66% efficiency to 80% efficiency is obviously going to be a good thing. And then once I can make the high voltage assembler and I can make the normal size turbine, you can see there that the turbine efficiency is 105%. But I've got to be able to provide it with 16,000 liters of steam per second, which I don't even know if I can do that, to be honest with you. But the durability is one of the key components that I'm looking at too. I want the large durability as much as possible anyway, because I don't know if this is true or not still, but it used to be that if the turbine broke while it was in the machine and running, then the machine itself would explode. And obviously it's something that you don't want to have. And of course, the larger the durability, the more time it can spend in there. You don't want to have to be checking it every 5 seconds just to make sure it doesn't, blow up on you. So anyway, that's one other thing that I'm going to have to make, and that requires a magnesium rod, which you've already seen is a combination of magnesium and aluminium, and some titanium turbine blades, and each one of these is a bunch of titanium because these double titanium plates. So that's 2, 4, 6 titanium ingots there, and some titanium screws. I think I get 8 screws per titanium ingot or something like that, and I need 4 of those titanium turbine blades. So you're looking at another 2, 4, 6 times 4, 24 titanium. So yeah, all of these materials and all of these materials plus another 24 titanium, which I actually might have. Yeah, I've got 52 titanium right there. So I'm doing pretty good with my titanium. Okay, so that's enough of that. Let me go ahead and get working on building this steam turbine, large steam turbine. Well, I think I have all of the parts that I need for this large steam turbine, and I seriously overestimated how much of the blue steel I needed. It turned out I needed about a stack of blue steel. I ended up making 2 stacks of blue steel, I think, and turning them into these blue steel rods, and I didn't need that many. I don't know where my mind was, but I seriously was way off on my math. Anyway, before we build the large steam turbine, what I think I want to do is run a test, and that is what I'm going to do. So this tank is now completely full of steam, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these plank covers, and I should be able to put these in here like this, which will prevent any steam from going into them from these lava boilers. So that'll stop steam from going in. So this is a full tank of steam, and now I have made sure I've run out all of the juice out of these batteries. So I'm going to go ahead and take them out like this, doot, 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 doot. And then I'm going to take out the battery buffer. Okay, and then I am going to put the battery buffer back in. This is just to make sure everything is starting off fresh, and it will connect up, and then I can put in the 16 medium lithium batteries. Great. And so now, because the output of this is facing this way, it will not go into this transformer and then into my my machinery up there. Each one of these is, of course, empty, and currently these pumps are off, and I'm going to see what happens. So let's go ahead and grab the screwdriver and set all of these pumps to begin working, like so. And I will start my timer as well, which I wasn't ready for that, so bad preparations, bad preparations. Stopwatch, go. Okay. And so now we will see these should be filling up steam, generating power. That power will go to the battery. And I'm going to see how long it takes to drain out all of this steam and how much power I end up with when it's done. Well, the tank is almost empty of steam, and there we go. Tank is actually now empty. Now there's, of course, a little bit of steam left over in each one of these turbines, so we have to wait for them to finish running down, and they're pretty close. It doesn't take too long. So that one is out of steam, that one is out of steam, and that one is out of steam. So total time to get through that was about 8.5 minutes. That's not too terrible. Let's see what we ended up power-wise. 53,248 times 16. 53,248 times 16 is 851,000. So we'll just say 850,000 EU in 8.5 minutes off a full tank of steam. Okay, so I am going to run out these batteries, build the large steam turbine, and we'll run this experiment again. Okay, so as I mentioned before, this is a 3 by 4 by 3 structure. So it's going to look like this. This is the turbine casings in the basic outline form. You'll take the controller block, which is this piece here, put that on one of the front faces that have the 3, like so, and then it makes it look like that, which I think is pretty cool. The Dynamo Hatch is what actually outputs power, and that needs to go on the exact opposite side, like so. Now, what's interesting to me, is that there are multiple Dynamo Hatches. One for each of the tiers of power. And the reason I find that interesting is that the steam turbine itself, the large steam turbine, the controller block, requires the high voltage machine hull. And so I would assume that means it should require at least a high voltage dynamo or better. I don't know if that's true or not. So I went ahead and made the MV dynamo, the medium voltage dynamo, because that's what I have been using so far to date is medium voltage. So I'm going to try it and see if it works. I'm not exactly sure. Then you're going to have input hatches. You can have as many as you want. I'm going to have 2 input hatches because they have to go in these sides and it will kind of fit pretty well if I do it like that. And then you of course have to have the standard good old maintenance hatch, which all of the multi-block structures require. And then if you have anything left over, you're going to want to fill that in with more of the turbine casings. And then everything will turn the same color and you have the large steam turbine built. And so all I got to do now is throw some duct tape on it. Okay, magical duct tape. Boop. And so now there should be no problems, and there isn't. So now we're going to have to hook up the input, and the input of the steam, I should say. So I need these pumps that I was using, and I need these fluid pipes that I was using. I didn't realize I only had 3, and that's probably not going to be enough. 1. I need 4. Yeah, that figures. Okay, so let me go make another one real quick. Oh, I have some right here. Haha, I've got an extra one. Okay, good. So we can go down here, get some more of these covers to do some separating type stuffs with. And we're going to put pipe, and a pipe, and a thing between to keep it separate. There we go. And a pipe, and a thing to keep it separate, and a pipe. Alright, so basically boop, boop, coming out of one input and going into the, or coming out of one of the valves of the railcraft tank and input into the input hatch, and the same with this one. So obviously that means that I will not be using 3 inputs, 3 valves. I'd only be using the 2. So we're going to see what happens with that. And then I can take the pumps and put them on one there, and I have to go all the way around. Well, that's not convenient, is it? Let's get rid of you. Get out of there, and let's get rid of you. There we go. Okay, and a pump there. All right. So now we should be set up to do the exact same thing we did before. And so then we're going to take the battery buffer, which is, nope, that's the transformer. There's the battery buffer, and there's the batteries. And we're going to put the battery buffer on the end of this Dynamo Hatch. So it should store up all of the power into these 16 batteries. Of course, assuming that this all works. And there's, of course, always a possibility that it won't work, because, you know, I don't always know what I'm doing. So once again, this is full of steam. Good. And we're going to block off the input valves just like that. Good. And so now when I start these 2 pumps, then we will start going. And so got my timer ready again, and I need my screwdriver. And so I'm going to start pump number 1 and run to the other side and start pump number 2 and hit start on my timer. Oops. Get out of a corner. Now I may have to do that. There we go. Now it's enabled. And so it should work. And of course I say should very hesitantly, because it does not appear that it's actually doing anything, does it? Not so good. Is this draining of steam? Well, it drained some steam, but now it's not working. Why is it not working? Well, I wonder if I do need a high voltage. These got out. Those have steam in them. All right, let me check some things out and see what I'm doing wrong. Okay, so I'm sure that some of you have been slamming your head against your computer or desk or something, because I forgot, of course, the most obvious thing in the world that was required to make the steam turbine work, and that is, of course, is the turbine itself, the turbine rotor itself, or whatever you might want to call that. That has to go in it. I like this this image that appears when you put in the controller block, but it also makes me think that the turbine itself is actually in there. So anyway, I've got the small turbine I said that I was going to make out of titanium, and it goes here, and I'm going to start my timer, because I think once I put this in, yeah, look at that. Isn't that cool? I like how that goes. And so this, look at that, that's draining down. And if we come back around to the back, this will hopefully soon start filling up with power. All right, so I'm going to, again, same thing, I'm going to wait until this tank of steam runs all the way down and see what happens. All right, so the steam in the tank is, well, done. It is gone. Of course, there's still going to be some residual amounts of steam. Well, that didn't actually take very long. This has stopped. So we're at about 10.5 minutes, 10 minutes and 22 seconds. Thought I saw it turn again. Okay, so let's go. If I walk up to this pipe, it's not hot, so there's no steam left in it. And the amount of EU I have is 61,184. Oops. So 61,184 times 16 is about 979,000 EU. So 979,000 EU. So as I said, it took about 10.5 minutes. And so it took a little bit longer to go through the tank, but that probably makes sense considering I only had 2 pumps working, where I had 3 pumps working with the previous system. I would expect that it would take about 3/2 more time, so 8 minutes and 30 seconds. I would actually have expected that it would take closer to 12 minutes to go through the tank, but it didn't, so that's pretty good. And obviously we got more EU out of it. I got 979,000 as opposed to 850,000. So it means I got about 15% more. And that probably makes a lot of sense because remember, the efficiency of this turbine is at 80%. And the efficiency of these, where are they at? These turbines is 66%. So that's a difference of 14%. And I got 15% more EU. So in my mind, that seems to make sense. Does that seem to make sense to you guys? I think that makes a little bit of sense to me. I am going to end it off there. I have built the large steam turbine, and the biggest issue that I think I'm going to have now is being able to supply the turbine with enough steam. My steam production is not enough to be able to feed the steam turbine on a constant, regular basis. And also, I am going to change out the dynamo. I don't want to produce medium voltage. I'm actually going to produce high voltage power and then send that through and then use a transformer to downgrade that to medium voltage power for the various machines that I have upstairs. But anyway, thank you so much for joining me. If you have comments or questions, please leave them for me in the comment section down below. That's going to do it. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you in the next one.